That's how she rolls. Can't believe I found her.
All right, here we go. OverDrive off and running. TSN 1050 on the TSN app. Your home smart speaker up on TSN 4. Brian Hayes, Theo Dog, Jeff O'Neill, Jamie Noodles McLennan.
How we doing?
Very well. Very well.
I'm concerned.
Let me take this for a spin. Hello, Partsy.
Oh, no.
It does have a good ring to it.
Partsy.
It does have a good ring to it. I have to say that. I do have to say that. And, you know, I was having a conversation with a mutual friend of ours earlier that, you know, this is like Luke used to be your Tom Brady, right? He was your Tom Brady. He was your guy. And now Luke is playing like, you know, Rex Grossman or whatever, and you're just selling him off.
He's the one that ended our relationship. He went on Twitter last night and said, on whatever related reasons, this guy is being sent to the minor. He gassed me last night.
Yeah, you're in the minor. You're on waivers.
Well, I may have sparked that a little bit. I might have put out there. Because I watched it, I saw that, and then that picture came up in the group text. And what Luke had floated in the group chat was maybe I should cut O-Dog loose or something. And I said, well, hold on a second here. Didn't you send Al's brother to the minors for a week or something last year?
Last year I had to place him on waivers, and he cleared.
He needed a reset,
He
though.
did.
That's what happened, right?
He did, yes. You're absolutely right.
Guys, let's be straight here, okay? He's the one that pulls the trigger on these decisions. He weighs in. He lets me weigh in when we talk to each other, but he pulls the trigger. Why would I need a reset when I'm basically an assistant GM with no say? Maybe he needs a reset.
I think what he needs is a new power structure. I think he needs Al's brother to come in and run the whole operation.
Oh, no.
And Luke can be, you know, his personal assistant for a couple of weeks.
Wow.
I see that as a blossoming relationship, right? I really do. I think Luke, working under the tutelage of someone who really knows what he's doing and Al's brother, would be great for him to flourish in the future.
Al's brother is a modern-day Theo Epstein.
That's right. That's exactly what he is. And I'm the Red Sox, and now it's time for him to go to Chicago and win something for the Cubs.
That's it.
And that's what Al's brother, I think, wants to do. He wants to go to the north side of Chicago, which is where Luke currently resides, and take Luke under his wing. And if that happens, it'd be tough to see him go, but we'll be okay. We'll be okay over here in Boston. Right, we're fine. Chicago needs Al's brother. Luke needs Al's brother. I never thought I'd say those words, but they're accurate, man. 100% accuracy.
Basically what you did, Brian, is you admitted this is all you, and you're fine with Al's brother going wherever the hell he wants because all of the nonsense that he spews, basically you're the brains behind the organization. So you could put a garden gnome with you, and you what you're doing
or the O-Dog with me.
You're
right, a garden gnome or the O-Dog.
You're wishing Al's brother to go over there. I dare you to go you versus the three of them.
Oh, dude, I would. That's happened before, Noodles, and I lapped them. Remember how ugly it got? Luke got fired. Al's brother started taking cruises every 2 weeks. Yeah. I spun them out of control that they didn't know how to operate anymore.
I feel like if Al's brother slides over there, then you could show the complete power struggle as to it's like you versus the field.
All right.
I challenge you to. I mean,
I'm with you. I'm okay with that.
It's either that. It's either we switch the teams, or I can easily form a super team with Doogie, JP, and Joe from the Bridge.
You think that's a super team?
That is a super
That's the Little Giants. You're Rick Moranis. You'd be Rick Moranis. That's the Little Giants, and they have no shot.
The Little Giants.
That's
the Little Giants.
What did you say yesterday? That's alumni versus firemen.
That's exactly what that is. Precisely. And firemen that don't work anymore.
Yeah.
Right? That aren't in shape.
I got some
on the
grief
job.
from firemen yesterday, of all people. It's like, we're better than that. We work. It's just like,
Oh, you offended firemen yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
Not the Leafs. You didn't,
No.
you didn't offend the Leafs.
You didn't
We
offend the
offended
Leafs. You
firemen.
offended the firemen who were playing them. That's the thing. Like
That's great. I didn't think of that possibility. But it's funny. Everyone's angry. Listen, unless you're a Raptor fan, they did it again last night.
Man,
Like, the
oh,
Raptors
man.
won again, 8 in a row. Brandon Ingram was phenomenal. Scotty Barnes keeps growing and keeps getting better. Darko pushing all the right buttons. So the Raptors fans coming alive. You know, like that building was rocking last night, and it's going to take some time. They've had a couple of down years to get like the casual fans back on board, right? But you keep winning, man. It's a testament to the way sports is pretty simple. Like, it's really not that hard to figure out. It's finite. You either win and people love what's going on, or you lose and people are miserable. There's really not much of a gray area.
And it's starting to get miserable in the NHL, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
If they always say that Thanksgiving U.S. Thanksgiving is kind of the time where it's, you know, do it or get off, there's some people that are realizing they're pissed off. Like, Barry Trotz went nuclear on his team saying he wants more, and they rewarded him with just an 8-3
They got
drop.
pumped last night by Florida at
pumped.
home. Pumped.
And
They
now
were down
everything,
2-0 like 3 minutes into the game.
dude,
Yeah, it
and
was
now
ugly.
people are starting to talk because players talk when it gets that miserable. Now everyone is talking about how miserable it is in Nashville. Like, just get me out of here. This is gross, which is a dangerous game, man.
You know, it's
that
funny.
was the gold standard a couple of years ago, wasn't it?
There's still no state tax in Tennessee. Right? It's
Yeah.
funny. There's still no state tax down there.
It's a great point.
You
It's
know?
a great
There's
point
no state
because you're
tax,
right.
but they
That
are
was-
miserable in Nashville.
It's about winning. It's about competing. It's about playing in the playoffs. That's what it is. But I think the point you're making, Brian, and it's a great point because if there's no state tax, people are like, okay, that's the destination to be. If your team stinks, you're still frustrated.
Right.
I think where the struggle is if the organizations are kind of close. If it's a coin flip between, hey, Team A and Team B, but better weather, better state tax, all of that.
Definitely.
Obviously,
That
that
hasn't
factors in.
changed.
But
Yeah.
that's what I've been saying that for a while. It's like it's 5% of the pie, but it's still a percentage of the pie.
For sure. I'm not downplaying that. I'm not
Right.
saying I've changed my viewpoint on everything because of Nashville. I'm just pointing that out, that Nashville is one of those teams that, they can go the extra 5%. But you're right. They're a disaster. Like, they're a mess. And unfortunately, Barry Trotz, who's one of the great guys and great interviews, one of the great coaches ever.
Yep.
It's early, but not that early. The managerial resume is a disaster. I mean, you can't sugarcoat it. Like, they're the worst team in the league, and
Yeah.
he went in there and got rid of a bunch of guys and brought in different guys and splashed money around, and it hasn't worked. And they are clear-cut the worst team. Like, as bad as the Leafs start has been, Calgary start, Vancouver start. There's other teams.
Right.
Like, Nashville is to the bottom what Colorado is to the top. Like, that's how defined it is.
Yeah.
Like,
with,
Colorado.
with veteran good players or so-called good players. That's scary.
That's the disappointing part is, and if you look at it, there's probably like let's take St. Louis by all accounts. Again, I'm just quoting the insiders is open for business.
Yep.
Vancouver's open for business. Don Maloney came out the other day and said they're not open for business, but I do believe Calgary should be, or at least listening. Craig Conroy's a smart guy.
Yep.
And then Barry Trotz. So you're looking at those four organizations right now definitively. I know the Leafs are just above them, but I give them a pass whether I should or not. There's injuries. I'd like to see what this team looks like at 100%. Those other teams, they're not battling their best players out, all of that type of stuff. There is still adversity. I get it. But I'm separating the Leafs from those right now. Reserve judgment, 10
also
games
don't have
from
the
now.
same history, right?
Correct.
Like,
Correct.
Vancouver, Calgary, St. Louis was in the playoffs last year, but the Leafs for 9 straight years it's been a borderline formality. They're going to the playoffs.
But, so you're right. So let me just separate those four. There's some real damn good players on those organizations. And I think that's where, if you're a manager looking to add, and you talked about it the other day, whether it's Ottawa, whether it's these other teams that are looking to add to their group, You start calling those managers saying who's available and what's it going to take to get him out. I think, U.S. Thanksgiving is this week. Are you going to start to see some moves here, whether some organizations that are kind of in that, the doldrums? There's 25 teams kind of lumped up together, or you name it. Are you going to see some moves for a team to try and separate themselves?
Well, I think it comes down to how much of a stomach, how much they're willing to stomach, shedding pieces off. You mentioned Vancouver. Right. As of now, Quinn Hughes doesn't appear to be a part of that conversation.
Why not? Why not?
That's what I was just about to say. If you're unloading everything, what is he possibly thinking about that?
No kidding.
He must be looking at this saying, guys, I'm leaving. I'm not.
I love the tweet today.
Terrible.
Some veteran players available, but not yet for Quinn Hughes.
Not Quinn. We'll figure that out.
Why not? He should be the first.
Right, because you can likely. I mean, listen, it's difficult mid-season, and it's difficult with a hard salary cap. It's tough to do. But if I'm a prospective team out there, not named New Jersey, who everyone is connecting him to, but if I'm thinking, okay, in a year and a half he's going to New Jersey, July 1st, 2027 or whatever it is, that's where he's going. And if that's what he's planning, then so be it. But you can get, I think, the second best defenseman in the world, certainly a top 3 defenseman or 4 defenseman.
For a year and a half?
For a year and a half.
2 playoff runs.
Dude, that's what are you not willing to trade for that? If you're quote unquote in a window, if you feel like you're really right there and ready to pounce, and we could go through the list of teams that might represent that, but man, how could you not say just you tell me, Jim Rutherford, what's it going to take? Because if he's willing to come here for a year and a half, we're taking him because he's that good, and that's the definition of an impact player. Nashville doesn't have that anymore. Yossi isn't that guy. Yeah. Saros, it's a big contract. I don't know. St. Louis doesn't have it. No one has it to that extent. Quinn Hughes is a legit top 5 or 6 player in the world. I'm calling him off the hook and saying, yeah, I'll look at Jake DeBrusk. I'll look at, different guys like that, good players.
Connor Garland. There's lots of players
good
there.
Players.
Philip Hronik, really good players.
But this league turns on its head if Quinn Hughes gets flipped.
But
now we're talking.
So Brian, you're right, but the team that is trying to acquire him, it's going to be picks and prospects. It can't be live roster players because you're not going to weaken your team unless it's somebody who you're trading out. You need the cap space. So you need to trade a defenseman that's on your roster already to move for Quinn Hughes to slide in there. But it's a lot of picks and prospects because if Vancouver is going to go through scorched earth situation, they don't need a 25-year-old player that's really good. They need a high draft pick or a first, multiple first rounders and a 19-year-old that's playing in junior right now. That's what they need.
Sure, and I'm sure there's, again, we'd have to look through it, but I'm sure there are examples of that. I think he's one guy, though, that you kind of make the exception because we're talking about the 2 years, Noodles, where I think you do trade a 22-year-old stud for him because, yes, you're not weakening your team. You're getting Quinn Hughes.
Yeah, you're right.
You're getting a substantially better player than that 22-year-old who is really good.
Okay, so let's just again let's be crazy here.
I'll give you crazy because I know exactly where you're about to go. Let's say the Leafs are really rocking right now, and it's going to cost you Matthew Nyes. I'm doing it. That's what I'm telling you.
Okay.
I'm doing that plus the picks and that's how good Quinn Hughes is.
I was trying to figure out teams that were linked to Rasmus Andersson. So maybe the Leafs would be one of them. I'm trying to think. I'm looking at Dallas, for example. Would Dallas trade Wyatt Johnston for him?
I would.
See,
that's my answer. That's what I'm saying.
Really?
As good as Wyatt Johnston is, this is Quinn Hughes.
Yeah, you're right.
This guy is so good. He shows up, plays 28 minutes immediately, and is the best player on your team. Better than Heiskanen, who's great. Better than Harley, who's great. We're using Dallas as an example.
Yeah, just
to
an
be
example.
Clear, the Leafs better not make this deal right now. They're not going to make that deal. I'm not saying the Leafs should. I'm saying in a different world, the Leafs have 30 points right now and are rocking, and man, they're one puck-moving defenseman away. Yes, I'm doing –
it's all in.
Yeah. Basically, as much as I love Nyes, as much as I love Wyatt Johnston, as much as I love whoever it is. Yeah, exactly. Name a player. You're getting him for 2 runs, man.
Yeah, Wyatt Johnston's an interesting one, Hayes.
Well, he's such a great player.
Yeah, he's a great player.
Quinn
Big part
Hughes,
of that.
man. Quinn Hughes.
I know,
Like,
but I guess
that guy
Dallas
doesn't stumble across your path very often, man.
Well, Dallas isn't probably the
they
right
got
case
Heiskanen
study.
and Harley on the left side. They're not making that trade.
Maybe it's Vegas. Maybe it's Vegas because Vegas lost Pietrangelo.
Mm-hmm.
And, I'm doing their game tomorrow. Like, I'm looking at their roster. They're banged up. They're banged up, but they still have good players there. They took a beating in Utah last night at 5-1. I didn't love their game. Didn't play well, but, that happens. But, Pietrangelo off the books. Could you go after him?
I think they would. And there's an example. Like, is it – again, I don't know what the deal looks like. Picks, prospects, and Dorofeev. And they're like, well, we want him and we want picks and prospects. I'm doing that.
Well,
Thank you. Go ahead.
But I don't know if –
I'm doing everything I can to get Quinn Hughes, I guess is what I'm telling you.
But you with full well knowing you're mortgaging your future because this guy out the door in a year and a half going to play with his brothers.
Probably is, yes.
That's the other
maybe
thing,
you
too.
can convince them, right? Maybe Jersey's a mess in a year and a half. The league is in a weird cycle right now. Maybe in 2 years he looks at it and goes, oh, I'll wait my time out. Maybe they can come meet me in a few years. I don't know.
Yeah, that's fair.
Well, somebody else said, I don't know, it was on Twitter, somebody else said, there's another team close to Jersey with a head coach that's familiar with Quinn Hughes. Never know. Ricky Tocchet's in Philly.
Yeah.
But where's
Never
Philly in their progression? You know what I mean? Like that's
I think sometimes when a player like that's available, Jamie, you just got to say, forget about the progression.
But does it make
not-
sense? Does
Philly's
it make
just
sense
not that good.
for
That's
Philly?
the thing.
That's my question. Does it make sense for Philly to go? Like, there's probably like, I get you, but there's probably a few teams that would go, I'd love to have him on my team, but we're just not there, to make it happen. Keep in mind, I believe he has a full no move and all of that, so he can just go, yeah, I'm good. No, I'm not doing that.
Right.
So there's a lot of things. We're just doing the Joe from the bridge and making things up here as we go. But Philly's an interesting team, but maybe the team that's tied with them in the standings, Florida. It's just
maybe Tampa. Like Tampa won again last night. Hedman's out. Anyway, we're getting crazy now.
We are getting crazy.
Point is, there's teams that might be opening the door, and let's with the Leafs, they may be 5 games away from the same report. I don't know. Like you can't if you keep losing, you can't just sit on your hands. If you're Brad Treliving, like at some point you got to make a decision on what you have and what you're going to be this year.
Right.
And we got let's play the Berube clip where there's Matthews and Nyes and Wall. They're all out there in gray jerseys and they practiced, but no word on if they're playing tomorrow night because God forbid you give a real update on anything. Here's what Berube had to say about those players in particular.
It looked good. They did finish practice, but still got to see about tomorrow. So that's where they're at. But it was good that they're out there and finished practice, went through all the drills. Just got to see where they're at. See. I haven't talked to a trainer. I haven't talked to those guys yet after practice. So that's something I got to do.
I just don't understand the giant mystery.
I don't think
is
they're
there
playing
even
tomorrow.
one, or do you think he knows they're just not playing?
I don't know.
Like that's what I wonder. It's like they're not playing, and he's got to go through the song and dance because that's the way they operate.
I don't think they would. Like, you got till Friday, Saturday. Like, why not give him an extra couple days?
Because
like
your life is on the line, Noodles.
I
you're
know, but-
dying. The team is in dead last in the East. If you're 95%, like at what point do you say I got to play?
I get it.
Again, you don't know because there's no releasing of I don't know if it could get worse or whatever. But, like, I hear what you're saying, but then it's like, well, just wait until Saturday. Well, then you don't play again until Tuesday, so just wait until Tuesday.
Yeah,
at some point you got to play.
We just don't know.
Like, they need guys in the lineup.
I just wish the problem is we can't diagnose because we have no idea what it is.
And that's
I don't
their
even know what
fault, not
Anthony
everyone else's.
Stolarz came out of a game the other 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I thought he just got pulled, and they were just saying, yeah, take the maybe a muscle cramp or something. Guy hasn't touched the ice.
Not even on the ice. Haven't
That's
seen
2
him.
weeks ago.
Yeah.
2 weeks ago, November 11th was that game.
That was crazy. He was god-awful, just disappeared off the ice, and haven't heard from him or anything about him since. Just gone.
Yeah,
Was an
that's
upper
a
body.
weird one. That's a weird one.
like I don't. There was nothing there. Again, we didn't scour the tape. If there was, he got, I believe, was it diagnosed a concussion in the playoffs, right? Was
Yes.
the Bennett thing a concussion?
Oh, yeah.
Correct? That's been diagnosed, right? I don't want to speak out of turn.
No, yeah, for sure.
Did he get bunked that night and we didn't see it? And then didn't
I
feel
never
well
saw
after
anything.
the first.
And
we don't know.
Leaf fans, they're reviewing the tape like it's the Zapruder
They would
tape.
have seen anything.
Yeah, there's that Omar guy or whatever. He does
a great job, man. He breaks
does
everything
awesome
down.
stuff. But like he breaks all of those stuff, the videos down and all that. So you're right. Like I didn't see anything other than just a poor third goal that went in. And that made it 3-1, and that was curtains.
After,
and then we didn't see it.
pulled twice, awful performance against Boston. The comments, it's been a weird year for Stolarz. Like there's no other way to put it. It's unfortunate. He was such a great story last year, but no idea when he's going to play. No idea when Carlo's going to play. Tanev's going to play. These three guys, they've been practicing. They were in Montreal. They're on the ice all the time. Still don't know if they'll play tomorrow night.
Well, hopefully they're close. That's the thing,
Yeah, you hope so, but with the Leafs, you never know. Maybe the insiders can tell us. We'll come back and we'll ask Dregs because we had him in studio last week. Remember we said, he's like, if he doesn't play on Wednesday, Matthews, then it's like, okay, what's going on here? Like that. Because it was, maybe Saturday in Montreal. Now it's Wednesday, and we still don't know if this guy's going to play. So what's the latest on that? What's the latest on which teams, are open for business? And when does Quinn Hughes get flipped, basically? Like, if he's going to get flipped, when does he get flipped? What does that look like, among other stories around the NHL? The Insider's coming up. MJ will join us today. Confirm or deny coming up. The O-Dog's on waivers. I might put in a claim. I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about picking you up off the waiver wire.
But then you would have to drop Al's brother and put him back.
And that would be unfortunate. But then Al's brother, I know would fall up because again he would take over Luke's whole operation, and Luke would be his personal assistant. I think Luke needs that right now. I really do. Wow. So we'll see. We'll see what happens here. All right, Insiders coming up. OverDrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 4. OverDrive continues, powered by FanDuel, bringing you everything from the opening line to the final score. Shout out to the Raptors and the 49ers last night, picking up a big win. Robert Saleh, he's got that defense cooking, man. And I do wonder if he gets another head coaching opportunity because he went to the Jets. You go to the Jets, no one can win with the Jets. Nobody. You always talk about it, like, that's a job. Just pass. No, thank you.
Oh, yeah. It's just, sorry, that seems like such a dream scenario. I told buddies of mine in the NHL, it's like, that job's opening. I'm like, why do you want to go there? Because you get dummied, and then you get gassed, and then people think you're a dummy because you can't coach them. So what the hell's the sense?
Yeah.
It's a great question. Like, obviously the money, obviously the prestige.
Yes, God, like as much as we say that, somebody will jump on that Jets job because everyone's got an ego, and they say, I can turn it around. But, man, there's been a bunch of guys that have gone in there, and no one's going to turn it around until the owner stops being involved like he is.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
Yeah, that's valid. The whole New York football scene, man, the Giants are the only team mathematically eliminated from the playoffs. It's not even U.S. Thanksgiving. The Giants are out. Like, they're done. And the Jets are done. It's a mess, man. But, the Niners, they're 8-4. They've had all those injuries. Purdy's doing nothing. Like they're winning almost in spite of Purdy. And Mac Jones was good earlier in the year, and yet they're 8-4. It's a great run in the NFC West, great run in the NFC North. The NFL hammered this, too, on Thanksgiving. It's Packers, Lions, Chiefs, Cowboys. You can't ask for anything better. Yeah. And I believe Joe Burrow's returning. Burrow returning against the Ravens for the nightcap. Like, that's just 3 great games. 3 great stories. They got a game on Friday. You can't beat it, man. You can't beat it.
Yep.
All right, we only got one game in the NHL tonight. Edmonton, Dallas, too. It's a big one. Edmonton home after a long road trip. They kind of survived on the road, but now they got to get cooking here. And There's apparently some teams open for business, and there's some teams that are willing to reveal information on injured players, and there's some teams that aren't. To get into it, here are the insiders, Darren Dreger and Pierre LeBrun. There they are, looking good as always. Great to see you guys. Dregs, why don't we start with that, the injury stuff. We had you in studio last week. You and CJ were in there. We were talking about the Leafs and their injury problems, and Austin Matthews in particular, and still no word on if he'll even play tomorrow night. What do you make of that from Craig Berube, and where this goes if he doesn't play tomorrow?
Well, it goes to Friday on TSN when, the Leafs obviously play the Washington Capitals. I think what the Maple Leafs are saying at this point, and what Berube said after their practice today, was that they're not ruling him out for tomorrow, for Wednesday's game. So, I guess they'll decide after the morning skate. It sounds like Matthew Knies is closer. He seems likely to go. But I think it's the bigger picture issue, right? You think of Anthony Stolarz was expected to miss a game or two, and this guy hasn't been on the ice for an extended window of time here. So, look, it's an individual club thing. You don't have to disclose information. You don't have to disclose timeline. But I don't think that Greg Berube meets the media and then just randomly gives misinformation. He's dealing essentially day by day with the information that he has. He doesn't want to push Knies because this is something that he's been working with and dealing with since training camp. And, Austin Matthews, we know when he got hurt, and they need him to be as close to 100% healthy as he can be.
Well, Pierre, where do you stand on, I see you're in your Cowboys gear there, and you know the way the NFL has operated for a long time. Transparency, got to tell people, got to let fans know what's going on. The NHL isn't there. I don't know if they ever will get there. Where do you stand on that? And do you think it's possible at some point the commissioner could be tipped and said, you got to give more transparency here?
Yeah, to your point, I just read this afternoon that George Pickens will be playing Thursday for America's team, the Dallas Cowboys. Yes. Transparency, George Pickens, missed a few plays because of a leg injury on Sunday. No, it's bugged me for a long time, too. I think it's a very relevant conversation. In particular, the NHL has deals with, legalized gambling companies, and I think there should be more detail and more transparency in the way injuries are talked about in the NHL. And by the way, it's interesting because Dregs knows this, but at the last GM meetings here in Toronto a couple weeks ago, one of the real interesting presentations, or at least GMs were telling us they thought it was really interesting, was from the NHL security director, Jared Maples, who talked to GMs about being careful about who they share injury news with, etc. And that conversation was in the scope of all of the stuff that you're seeing in other sports with some of the, some of the gambling controversies and investigations, etc. So my point is, it's probably more paramount than ever, I think, for this type of information when coming from teams to be as transparent as possible for all kinds of reasons.
Well, Dregs, I think there's some frustration in the fan base in Toronto here because they need some of these guys back. Their season is, like Hayes was talking about, the mathematics that need to go down for the Leafs to get into the playoffs moving forward. And if they don't get it together in the next 2 weeks or so, it could be game over for these guys if they don't get some of these bodies back and start playing better. Yeah,
the playing better part should be amplified because – with all due respect to Knies and the Matthews and the Stolarz and go down the list, it's not like these guys were at the top of their game before injury. There were moments where individually they were playing well, but the moments where the team was coming together collectively have been fewer and fewer. But look, if it was as easy as Brad Treliving, identifying, okay, well, here's player X out there that I think is going to help us, he would do that. He'd find a way to do that. But now we're talking about the reality of all these other teams, Vancouver being the most vocal in that process. But it's difficult to find the right help. So back to Toronto, if Matthews is back in the lineup on Wednesday, or if he's back in on TSN on Friday, he's got to find a way to deliver every single game. And likewise for the rest of the group, because the next man up routine in Toronto hasn't worked. It hasn't worked at all. It hasn't worked since game one.
Well, it's the reality of the league that, trades, they don't seemingly happen much. Now, there are apparently are teams open for business. We'll get to that in a moment. I'm sure, Noodles, you're about to jump in on that.
Yeah.
But what usually happens then is GMs come out and say, the only thing I can do is change the coach. It's the only thing I can do. Dregs, do you get the impression that's even on the radar for Brad Treliving right now?
I don't. Not even on the radar. Now, I guess things can change relatively quickly, but and nor am I saying that there shouldn't be an element of responsibility on the head coach or the coaching staff. I mean, that's what Craig Berube would expect, but not at the expense of his job, meaning that he feels that he still has time and the coaching staff in general have time to do a better job. Inspire this team to play better, because the words aren't working, right? The message sending hasn't worked to this point, but look, if there's finger pointing happening, then everybody deserves a mirror in their said office, including the general manager and those above who decided that the only changes that were required were to get rid of Brendan Shanahan. Everybody is responsible in some way, shape, or form. I don't think this should all hang on Craig Berube, and I don't get the sense that management feels that way either.
Yeah, I agree. I think everybody has to own some of it. That's just, and I don't mind that, because everybody's got to be a little bit better if Toronto's going to dig out of this. Pierre, I wanted to ask you, do you get a sense that the marketplace is heating up? I mean, we are coming up on American Thanksgiving. Teams are starting to internally have the meetings and take a look at what they've got going so far. Is the market are we going to see a trade? Are we going to see a team maybe pull the trigger? And we've just talked about it. There's some teams that seem to be open for business right now. Mm-hmm. Are their phones ringing off the hook right now? It's Vancouver. It's St. Louis. Is it Calgary? Is it, Nashville? That type of thing.
Yeah, Noodles. I mean, listen, before you have trades, you have to have teams that announce to the world that they're ready to do trades, and that's what we're starting to hear right now. So, there's Dregs touched on this on the early IT earlier today, and there's been other reporting on it that the Vancouver Canucks sent out a memo to other GMs about being open to listening and trading on their pending UFAs or veteran players. The National Predators in last place in the West. They are open to listening on their veteran players, depending on who it is. The St. Louis Blues were the first team to tell teams they were open for business a number of weeks ago, although not a whole lot has happened.
Pierre, just quickly, can you just explain to people listening, what does it mean when these teams say, like, it's just open for business? Like, are they bluffing? Like, what the hell do they mean? Like, I think people hear the term, and it's like, just call us and we can make a deal. Like, yeah. I would like to know, open for business, what the hell does it mean?
So it depends on the team, honestly. I mean, Dregs may have a different answer than me, but when news surfaced that the Blues were quote unquote open for business, there were a lot of team executives that I talked to that weekend that said, well, I think that's Doug Armstrong just trying to send a message to his team, trying to wake them up again like he's done in the past. Although I do think they'd be open to doing different things. I think the Canucks, Patrick Allvin, sent a note to, in the GM's group chat saying we'd listen on our pending UFAs. I think that was pretty straightforward. But to answer your question, though, I think there are some teams that kind of say that and want their players to find out about that, whereas there are other teams where it's a very genuine thing where they're like, if you guys have interest, let's start these discussions now, because it takes a while to make a trade fit and then make it materialize.
Dregs, Quinn Hughes, where does he stand in all of this in Vancouver if they're open for business, quote unquote?
Yeah, I mean, he's still very invested. He's committed to winning in Vancouver, at least on the short term. And we know he's got this year, and he's got 1 year remaining on his contract. And I think the responsibility is pretty obvious. Aside from this team needing to get healthy, and now there's news on Lankin, and he's out. He's had to take personal leave, so it just keeps piling on the Vancouver Canucks. And you're talking about significant holes here, right? You've got goaltenders hurt, including the star. You've got a couple of centers who aren't available to them. You look at the young D that the Vancouver Canucks have, it is a legit struggle. And that's why Patrick Allvin is making these calls and sending out memos and all of that. But most of that is kind of ratcheted up because they know that the window is closing on Quinn Hughes. You know, if things don't improve for the Vancouver Canucks, and I mean for the remainder of the year or even closer to the trade deadline, all bets are off, right? I think that has to be the timeline that the Vancouver Canucks are working with. You know, if they go into the offseason and they've had a poor year, you know, don't you have to be prepared for Quinn Hughes to come to the organization and say, I know I've got 1 year left on my contract. I'm telling you, I'm not signing. So it might be in your best interest to let's try to work something out now. Move me in this offseason, get the maximum return, whatever that is, probably from the New Jersey Devils.
Why not right now,
whatever the target is.
Why not now? Why wait?
Yeah, because they think it's too early. They think it's too early. They feel like they're a hard-working team. Well, because they feel like the season shouldn't be thrown out the window. Well, that's your opinion, It's okay for management and the coaching staff of the Vancouver Canucks to have a different opinion than you sitting in your chair in your home studio. If we can allow for that, then that's the reality of what Vancouver is dealing with. I'm just saying they're not throwing this year out the window. Now, maybe they get closer to the trade deadline and they've got a different opinion, and that conversation is on the table.
Yeah, well, if I can add to that to me for Vancouver, the priority remains, as Dreg said, is to sign Quinn Hughes if they can. Duh. I mean, he's the franchise, one of the greatest players ever to play. They can't sign him till July 1st. But if you wait till July 1st and only then realize he's not signing, if that's what ends up happening, now you're into a process where maybe the best trade you get is with the team that he'll sign with, and that gets CAA, his representation, involved. Whereas if you trade him before March 6th, you have none of that part involved. You're literally just saying to the rest of the league, you get at least 2 playoff cracks with, you know, a top 3 defenseman in the world. Come and get him. Yeah. Again, they'd rather sign him. They'd rather sign Quinn Hughes. That's priority number 1. But it's really interesting to me, the timing of all this, because you can't sign him till the summer, but you may get your best trade possible before March 6th. How do you figure that out?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I mean, you look at it. I'm just reading a stat from someone out in Vancouver. The Canucks have 2 regulation wins in the last 17 games. Like that's ugly, man. That is ugly. And Hughes is aware of it. You mentioned all the injuries. That's a big factor, and they should try to keep him. Like, why wouldn't you? But it's complicated. Like, how do you get that answer? Because he's under no obligation to give it to you. He doesn't have to give you an answer, right? The owner, I'm sure, would love to call him up and say, do you want to stay or not? He doesn't have to talk to you. He's going to play. Right. He needs to give an effort, which he will every single time he plays. But he doesn't have to give you an answer on the future, which makes it such a dichotomy and why it's so difficult and why we've been through this song and dance with other players and other teams in the past. But I don't know. It's dicey. And you look at the division they're in, you know, there's some really good teams. The West is loaded. You know, Colorado, they just keep winning. And, you know, I happen to be in the bookmarks here where I saw that one Canucks stat. I'm also looking at Mike Kelly's tweet from a couple days ago, our buddy Mike Kelly, who tweeted out that Mackenzie Blackwood, Scott Wedgwood, back-to-back shutouts over the weekend as the Avs improved to 16-1-5. 1 year ago today, their goalie tandem was Georgiev and Anunin. Like 1 year ago, they had 2 different guys, one who just cleared waivers. And if you're another team searching for goaltending, Edmonton, cough, how do you not look at that and say, what the hell's going on here? Like, how do we not find that? You know, easier said than done, but Colorado did it. And look at the position they're in right now.
The thing is, though, Colorado didn't – Blackwood was no good in the playoffs. That's the only thing that – they changed their goaltenders out last year, and it didn't get them any farther in the playoffs. That's the only thing. Now, now,
do you think they regret their decision, Noodles? I don't.
Not right now, but I'm saying – I'm not saying that Edmonton shouldn't go and do what you're talking about. What I'm saying is that it's not like that goaltending tandem last year that was no good. Wedgwood's having a great start to the season. If he has to play 60 games, you'll see a market reset. He's not a 1. And Blackwood's a good goaltender that's injured. But Blackwood was available to them. They both were available in the playoffs last year.
Yeah.
Didn't play that well. Put it that way.
Okay. Well,
But
Hellebuck didn't either. Like, what is that? I hear what you're saying. I'm just the point being is you can turn your goalies over. Colorado did it. Is it going to win them a
almost
Stanley
seems
Cup?
like
I don't
it was
know.
lightning in a bottle, Hayes. Where
Maybe
it was
it
like,
won't.
Everybody's probably looking around saying, how do I do that same thing? It's just, it's not out there. They hit
So
lightning,
hard.
and it's not happening.
I think teams should change their goaltending. I do believe Edmonton will. I do, personally. But I just, like I say, they might have two new goaltenders by the deadline anyways. They've got Ingram in the minors, who's 28, who's a good goaltender. He's just getting back up to speed. You know, Calvin Pickard played for his life the other night, and I thought he was awesome in Tampa. And
Skinner was good against Florida.
The thing about it is, I do believe there will be a different look at some point. But at the end of the day, like, you've got to find the right mix. I think UC Saros is awesome goaltender. He's been getting hung out to dry. He got pulled last night. Hung out to dry in Nashville. I don't know how you guys feel, the insiders. I do believe there should be trading. Like, going through these teams, those four teams should be open for business. Maybe Jordan Binnington's available. Maybe UC Saros. You got to be bold, but you got to give something up too, right?
Yeah, and there's history with the Oilers' interest in Jordan Binnington. Whether or not Stan Bowman wants to revisit that, we'll see. The problem, though, that I hear about on an annual basis, and it's almost around the quarter mark every year, is there's interest, but you have to have somebody to deal with. And if you're dealing with Doug Armstrong on Jordan Binnington as an example, what are you willing to give to acquire that goalie? I mean, are you taking apart a young roster and giving pieces off your lineup? Are you throwing in first-round draft picks? Because these teams, there are so many teams that feel that they're still in it. The only way you acquire a piece that matters, especially a goaltender, is if you're overpaying at this point.
All right.
And I know that when the Oilers, when the Oilers talked about whether there was a goalie upgrade out there before last year's trade deadline, they just came to the conclusion that they couldn't see something that was tangibly 100% better than what they had in terms of what was available. John Gibson was basically the only name available, and there's no guarantee there, and so they didn't pull the trigger on that. So that's the hard part. I love the point you brought up about Colorado, Brian, because not only did they remake their goaltending in season, in fact, their Wedgwood trade was on November 30th last year. I interviewed Chris McFarland just a couple of days ago, and the Avalanche actually retooled a third of their roster in season a year ago. They kept making trade after trade, and they were a contender, and they got it done. And it didn't help them. They lost in the first round again to Dallas, but they look pretty darn good right now 1 year later.
Well, to add one more thing on that, the elephant in the they traded Rantanen. Like, we're talking the goalies. They traded Rantanen.
Right.
Like, that's the elephant in the room. And this guy can't stop hitting people from behind.
16-1-5. 16-1-5.
That's why they traded him.
That's why they traded him. Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, go Canucks go, guys. Thanks for doing this.
Let's
go
get
Canucks
going
go.
here. Good seeing you guys. Thank you for doing this.
How about them Cowboys?
Pierre LeBrun, our TSN Hockey Insiders. All right.
No, Brian, you're right. Like, I believe that the Edmonton has to do something in net, and they are going to. I think there's better options this year than there were last year.
And I think that's 100% valid. Again,
fair.
I'm using the Colorado example. It's just so extreme that they were like, this is untenable. It's a disaster. We have to change it. And they did. Like, there's so much sitting on your hands in this league. Like, I don't want to do it. I don't know about that guy. Colorado's like, do it. Yep, Rantanen. I don't know if it'll lead to a cup. I'm not sitting here saying it will, but it has not led to them being a disaster. They just keep chugging, and they're in a better position today. And
it's crazy. Like, those are ballsy moves. Like, they traded Rantanen and both their goaltenders and other players
16-1-5. 16, and that's the whole thing. Like, oh well, Marner. Don't you want Marner? Rantanen is just as good. They moved off him, and guess where Colorado is? So the Leafs need to snap out of it. Not that they need to pick up shrapnel on that. Anyway, Johnny and Confirm coming up. OverDrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 4.
Was thinking during the break about my Vancouver Canucks, and I just found it interesting how they can blast out a message that come check out our veteran players. At the same time, they still believe in this season.
Yeah, they do. Well, you see Adam Foote. You want to hear from Adam Foote today? He had some wild comments, man. Here's what Adam Foote had to say about, I guess, anyone out there that might be doubting the Vancouver Canucks right now.
There's a ton of things, and one of the things I'm just positive, but there's a ton of things I'm real happy about. I mean, but, I'm more happy with wins. But I'm not going to blow up a kid or something being overanalyzed by, no disrespect, people that really don't know, but they're just looking at numbers from people that could be in Russia in a basement having cigarettes, cashews, telling their scoring chances. So we're going to depend on our guys, and really recognize what we believe has to be fixed and what doesn't.
Cigarettes and cashews. Is that a thing? Does that happen
I guess.
out there?
And vodka. You named the most important stat, Brian. Like, what is it? 2 wins and what?
2 regulation wins in the last 17 games. Vancouver.
That's kind of let you know.
That will lead to cigarettes and cashews. And
cigarettes and cashews. Like, I don't know where the
I don't get the
and
cashews
peanuts come in. Yeah.
Yeah. Just looking at expected goals here while I pop some cashews.
And have a dart.
Have a dart. Yeah.
Love it.
But, they're in one. Listen, they're not alone. There's a lot of, like, these Canadian teams. You look at Vancouver, Calgary, Toronto. Like, I was looking at it today. Again, everyone's played a different amount of games, so it's a little bit misleading. But if you just simply look at points, there's one team in the top half of the league, and it's Ottawa.
Brian, the bottom line is there's big jobs at stake. Everyone's just afraid to say that we stink, which a lot of them do. They stink. Vancouver stinks. Sorry.
Right now they do, yep. Yeah,
yes.
They do. And listen, Pettersson continues to do Pettersson things, and, it's a problem right now. All right, Mike Johnson on this and more. Confirmed coming up. Raptors with another win last night. And Thanksgiving right around the corner. 3 big games. Who's going to be calling them? We'll find out. OverDrive continues.
Hard say.
TSN 1050 and on YouTube Live.
I got you, moonlight, you're my starlight. I need you all night. Come on, dance with me. I'm levitating you.
Hour 2 OverDrive continues, powered by FanDuel, bringing you everything from the opening line to the final score. Confirm or deny later in the hour. Best bets later in the hour. Mike Johnson will join us here in a moment. Johnny's got a lot to say, I'm sure, about the Leafs and the current state of the NHL. I know he's a big Raps fan. I believe he's a Raptor fan. I think so. I know he's a big basketball guy. Probably
I want to
Jack
know
for
if
the
he's
Raps
one
right
fan.
now.
I want to know if he's a Nucks fan. I want to get his thoughts on the Nucks.
Okay. We'll get to the bottom of what he thinks of cigarettes and cashews out in Vancouver.
What a great comment.
I love
cigarettes
that.
And cashews.
Cigarettes and cashews. I was in a rink out by me, actually. Like, some of the players that played at Iroquois. It's a rink down just south of the 401. They got all the former NHLers, their jerseys up there. It's Foote, Nieuwendyk, Roberts, the Primo brothers. It just keeps going and going. And now it's Perfetti, and there's a couple guys currently in the league right now. But
big names there.
Big names, man. That's why I'm seeing Adam Foote. I'm like, man, that guy was nasty. God, he was a good player.
So
nasty,
gritty,
man.
Nasty, so gritty.
He's one guy. It would be like, I don't know. You see these guys nowadays where it's like, I don't even think they can. That Jack guy does. You can tell if you sick him on somebody, like that's your matchup tonight. I want you to really pay attention to that. He'll be like a dog. Mm-hmm. But Adam Foote took his first line matchup, like the other team's first line, to heart every single shift.
Yeah.
He was like, you're not going to score. I'm going to crush you every time in the corner. Like, you're not going to get 1 inch on my account. That was his approach. Yeah. Not one shift off. He was very, very hard to play against.
That Colorado had a great mix of everything, right?
Exactly.
Like they had remember Adam Deadmarsh? That guy was Mike Ricci.
Really good player.
But then they had Sakic, Forsberg, Hayduke, but they had
Kaminsky.
Valery Kaminsky. Yeah, they had some really good players, like high-end skill. And then they had these mean, but even their mean players were good players too. Like, that's the thing. Deadmarsh was a really good player. Ricci was a good player. Adam Foote was a good player. Like, that team
They
was
were
serious.
loaded, man.
Oh,
We've got Rob Blake and then
Blake
Bork and obviously
Bork,
Patrick
yeah.
One.
They traded Owen Nolan off that team of
Yeah.
all those forwards to
Yeah.
get Sandis Ozolinsh. They felt
Yeah.
like they needed one stud D to play in the power play.
And prior to that, they traded Sundin, right, for Wendell
Yeah.
before they even got to Colorado.
yeah.
Yeah.
That was
Like
crazy.
they had Matt Sundin, they had Lindros who didn't even show up.
Well,
Like,
what you're saying is you'd like to see some big trades going on.
Yes,
Wouldn't that
like
be
look what we
crazy?
just mentioned right there. Now that was a trade. It was a draft trade, but like Sundin for Wendell, Owen Nolan for Sandis Ozolinsh.
Yeah, we got to make a shakeup here to get a defenseman. Owen Nolan, you're on your way out the door.
Yeah.
Like,
Pretty good deal, and you know, and I get like there was no salary cap back then. It was all about, you know, there was no guarantees. No one had long-term contracts. It was a completely different world. Different world, and you could operate very differently. Honestly, there was a different scouting world at that point. You know, there were some teams that didn't have the budget probably to go see everybody and know everything about everybody. You had to rely on word of mouth. You had to rely on your scouts. Now you get GMs just traveling all over the place. I want to get on a bird and fly here and watch this guy play. That wasn't happening 30 years ago. You know, you could just tell your owner, hey, book me a flight. I'm going to see this guy play tonight. Like, that wasn't happening. But now it is. You know, yet it seems like there's more invested. There's more scouting. There's more money. There's more of a budget. And yet nothing ever ends up happening. And, like, if you look at the Leafs, where they're going to go and what they're going to do, this is why the coach keeps coming up. Like, whether you love Berube, don't. It's not that he's not a great coach or that he hasn't won. He has. He's been a winner. It's not that they didn't have a really good year last year. They did. It's just the reality of the NHL. It happens all the time. GMs come out and say, I can't make trades. I have to change something. So it's the coach that ends up falling on the sword. And
But I'm asking this honestly because I believe I know my answer. You put a new coach with that team, I don't see any different. Like, that's the thing. Like, I don't know. You know, name me a coach that would be like everyone's. Oh, Peter DeBoer. Like, DeBoer's a great coach. So is Craig Berube. But like, would it be stylistic that you're looking for? Is he going to get more out of Rick Michelli or not? Like,
I don't know. I mean, that's using. Like, here's
you know?
let me flush this out a little bit because it's a heavy topic. Right now, the injuries, I think, they're just a reality. Like,
It's a
these guys,
reality.
they're
We gotta
really
talk about
suffering from injuries.
Yes.
And there's just no disputing it. So that in and of itself, I think, is a realistic. You know, it's a speed bump for this team right now.
Right.
I guess what I'm saying is, if you look at this team, like, take out the names, take out the relationships, and all that kind of stuff. 9 years in the playoffs, veteran team, high expectations, dead last in the East on November 25th. That's not like if it's not crazy to say, well, that's kind of where the coach is in trouble. You know, like, if you just take the emotion out of it, Noodles, like, you wouldn't be shocked. Team X, Coach Y, this scenario, you'd say, yeah, I could see it. I'm not advocating for it. I'm not saying it will happen or whatever. I'm just saying if it did, Team X, Coach Y, scenario Z, you'd be like, yeah, that kind of is what happens. You know, like, that's kind of the way it works.
We can ask Johnny, but do you think there's ever a scenario where you just look at the situation and you're like, bad year, just not our
Everything
year?
went against them.
Boston
Nashville
last
last
year.
year. Nashville was just terrible, and they said coach gets a hall pass, GM gets a hall
now
pass.
look at this year. Look what
I
happened.
get it, but that's got to be the mandate. This year was garbage. We'll just wipe it, and it's like, you had a bad year, but things better change next year on all aspects. Well, I'll bring in Johnny and ask him what he thinks of that.
All right, here's Mike Johnson, our TSN hockey analyst, joining us here on the Maple Toyota Hotline. Are you sniffing that out, Johnny? Like, we're reaching, hey, just bad year, everything went against the Leafs territory here, or what?
I don't think they want to go there, although that might be the case, given the way it's gone and the injuries, the performance. But, I mean, O says Nashville, and that makes sense, except in that example, they followed up with another bad year. Like, I don't think Maple Leaf Sports wants to say this group and this commitment is now window shut. They're getting worse. They're going to be out of the playoffs. Like, I don't think they're at all ready to concede that on any level. Not this year, not going forward. So that's where I'm like, you talk about scenario X, coach Y, result Z. Edmonton Oilers 2 years ago. Jay Woodcroft. Good coach, really good coach. He was replaced for Knobloch, and then they went on to the Stanley Cup final 2 years in a row. I'm not saying that would happen if they did that, but I think it's a pretty parallel situation in that good team, high expectations, tons of talent that you can't really change that much. But what can you change? And this is where it's unfair to coaches, where it's not the coach's fault, but we know that coaches are the easiest and most likely thing to change because players of consequence are difficult to change. So, yeah, but I will say, you mentioned the injuries, and I think what the injuries give everyone around the Maple Leafs right now is a chance to extend the timeline of decision-making. Because they can say, listen, we're without 6 regulars. Like, we can't make a decision right now. Let's see what it looks like when we get both our goalies back, when we get all our D back, when we get Austin Matthews and Matthew Nyes. Then if we struggle, then we have that different kind of conversation. But I think the injuries extend that timeline. If they were 100% healthy today, I imagine these kind of conversations would be going on in different places
really
besides
loud.
this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right? Like in the halls of the executive of Maple Leaf Sports, you're like, what are we going to do here? Because this is not good enough.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great point, Johnny, but the only problem that I have is, like, this isn't a team, you said, like, ton of talent. I don't see it that way. I think there's top-end talent, but then it falls into a lot of, calls them JAG. Is it JAG that you call them? Just a guy?
That was somebody, just a guy. That wasn't my term. That was presented to me.
Yeah, but that's where I think the team is different this year. Like in years past, the identity of the team, I think, was quite clear. They had high-end talent that could win them a game at any moment because it's Marner that does it, it's Matthews that does it, it's Nylander that does it, it's Tavares that does it, it's Riley. You know, it was deeper. I look at it this year, and they're a different team. So outside the injuries, I'd like to see them healthy, but I still think they're adjusting as to, like, hey, we don't – you've talked about it. Who's the puck transporter? That missing from Marner, bringing up the ice. Who's your quarterback in the power play? Who's doing these things? They still haven't adjusted to. You're only 20 games in, but it's 20 is enough. There should be that adjustment there, and now you throw in the injuries and inconsistencies, and it doesn't look great. That's why I've been defending the coach. I'm like, you put any coach on that, it's not looking great until they get healthy, and then you figure out what you got to do.
I would just say this, Noodles, and you're right in a lot of different ways. What you usually associate high-end talent with is scoring goals. What are they in goals?
Yeah.
Like 5th.
4th.
Like they're not having a hard time scoring goals. I get it, their team is different and they miss Mitch Marner for a lot of different ways. But I think what you would get in a different coach, and I'm not advocating for Craig Berube. Craig Berube is a good coach, clearly. He just won a Stanley Cup recently. And he led this team to a division title and as deep as they've been in 20 years. But I do think if you went stylistically in a different direction, you would get different results. Now, I'm not saying I'm not a coach. Like, I can't devise, system play top to bottom to make this group better. But as it stands now, when they were healthier without Wall and Lawton, and when they're unhealthy, trying to play the system they've been asked to play, whether it's replicating last year or tweaking last year, it's not working. And so I think that's what a different voice is. Not that they're a better coach or Craig Berube is not a good coach. It's a different system. And I think you might see different results there. So, I think they are a talented team because what separates most teams in the NHL is the high-end guys, not the just-a-guy guys. Because lots of teams have just-a-guys. They might be a bit better in other areas, but the difference makers in winning and losing are the high-end guys. And right now, the high-end guys, and I think the other part of this conversation that needs to be said is that all the referencing to last year and how great they were last year, they got great results. They weren't a great process team last year. Like, they were sort of middle ground in chances and in shots and expected goals and all those things. But goaltenders, amazing. Power play, amazing. Stars. They were not some wagon that just rolled over teams game after game after game. They went from middle of the league this year to bottom third of the league. But they didn't go from 5th last year to 25th this year. They went from 18th to 25th. The drop has not been as precipitous. It's the goaltending largely and the power play that have stopped them from getting points. Because last year, under Craig Berube and this system, they won games, They did not give up a lot of goals, but process-wise, they were not that strong last year either.
Well, like last one on this, and I'll ask you guys because you played in the NHL. When you hear the coach say, "We just got to dig in more," what does that mean to you? When you hear your coach say, "We just need to dig in more," how do you respond to that?
It's very simple to me. It's like we're not a hardworking team. We have guys that aren't committed to just doing small things, and that's been the critique of the Maple Leafs for the longest time. They don't want to block shots. They don't want to take a hit to make a play. They want an easy game. Pretty simple to me.
I mean, I think as a player, when I hear that, it's more like it translates to physical, right? Like, because I think when you have a 2-on-1, me and Hayes going down the ice, we are trying our hardest to score, right? Like, no one doesn't try their hardest to score. I think I associate that always with some of the stuff I was talking about, blocking shots and taking hits and making hits and being gritty, whatever. But if I'm, and I don't know if I had the wherewithal when I played to kind of take a step back and like, to me, that is coach speak, and it's okay for the public. But if the answer, I think, is always just work harder, just try harder. Like, I think at some point there's got to be a different answer than just try harder. These guys are professionals. They are trying hard. No one goes out there not to try. Either you got to find a different system or you got to find different players. Because I believe the majority of the players in the NHL are basically trying as best they can all the time. And so that's where I associate it with working hard, but hopefully behind closed doors, it's more, hey, not only do we have to be grittier at what I was saying, but we also need to do this. Execution, system play, position play, defensive mindset, different things beyond just try harder, because try harder can only take you so far.
Yeah, it's a blanket statement. I would use the word details. And it comes back to a small detail of being, between the net and the puck in the defensive zone, blocking a shot instead of making it look good, like you were almost there.
But to Johnny's point, Jamie, it's like he just said, it's the best league in the world.
But
how do these guys need the details shoved down their throat every single game?
I don't, Johnny. You're in the rinks every night. I'm watching other teams. This is the thing. The league is different now. We had Joel Quenneville on yesterday. He said they don't have any practice time. Like they're just, it's about rest over practice. It's about, I'm shocked. There's nights where I'm watching and I'm like, that should be an easy out. And it's like, I can't execute a 10-foot pass. It's the best league in the world. And like a 10-foot pass blows up on a guy's stick or he misses him and he hits him in the skates. And because the game is so fast, instead of stopping on plays, it's like circle and like everything is just kind of like, oh, that play blew up. Let's try the next play. I feel like there's a mentality in today's game because the game is so fast. It's like keep the play going, keep it at a high rate, where I think some of the details are missing. Maybe I'm old school in that mentality, but it's just I look at it and the game is really sloppy on a lot of different fronts, and I don't know how you crispen things up. If you focus on making a 10-foot pass, you should be able to do it. Like it's the best league in the world.
Yeah.
And I don't know how many times I miss it. It's crazy.
Like a 10-foot pass is wild,
I mean, what was your make on Saturday night, Johnny? Like Saturday night, like that was just a.
I think a lot. Saturday night was tough. I mean, they were not checking well. And if it was a one-off game, you'd it's okay. Everyone has bad games, right? You're going to have 10, 15 kind of bad games. But the point is there's too many moments like this for the Leafs that you can't just write it off by saying it's okay because next game they'll be better, because next game they haven't always been better. We talked about Carolina 10 days ago being rock bottom. Hayes, you're like, this has got to be it. Shot attempts 95 to 35. There's got to be it. It's 10 days ago. Now, Saturday's got to be it. The thing I'd say, Noodles, is that I think you say details. I guess I put it execution. Because everyone's going so fast, it's harder to make plays that look good. Like to time it properly, whether it's defensemen grabbing the puck, settling the puck, seeing the play, making the decision, making the pass. The windows are tighter now than they used to be when we played, where people just were not moving quite as quickly. But again, that's on the players, always on the players, for sure. Right. But I do think getting a system in play, knowing what we know, this is not news to coaches around the league. They watch the games. They have the same information. Then you devise a system that allows for support when things go wrong. Like a pass in the skate should not be a 3-on-1. a pass to the skates turns into a 3-on-3. Right? Like this is like you move things around in this way. The stretch pass chip in for a forecheck does not work when the guy chasing for the forecheck is 30 feet back and he's not that fast. Like maybe that doesn't seem like a good system to execute all the time because the guys you have doing it, despite them trying to get there as fast as they can't get there as fast as they can. Like these kind of things that I watch when I watch the Leafs feels like they should clean up and tweak what they are trying to do. And I'm not, again, they have a plan. They won a lot with that plan last year. But again, they play slower in a league that's getting faster. And you can be kind of slower skaters and still play a fast game, but they're not. And that's what I would be trying to work on, both with the players, but also with the system to make it that they are able to play faster, even if they don't skate faster.
Vegas isn't a bunch of lightning bolts out there. Like when you look at them, they're not like blazing speed, but to be honest, they're not playing that well right now either.
But Florida is a team that everyone's emulating. They are a dump and chase team. But when you look into the stats, the amount of 20-plus mile-an-hour bursts in a game, they're in the top 10. They find a way within the construct of their sort of dump and chase system to still have moments of speed in the system. That's what the Leafs have to try to get to. So you can play dump and chase and play fast. You can play dump and chase and play slow. The Leafs play the same kind of system. They're bottom 6 in bursts. So, some of that's the skaters, some of that's the system. And I think you got to tweak the system to accommodate the skaters that you have because those are the guys on the team.
Well, it's an interesting fact to look at too, Johnny, because Florida plays to a man exactly the way that they want to play. And what I mean by that is execution of their structure. So I remember watching a Florida game last year, and it was a 2-on-2, and it was Barkov and Reinhart. And Reinhart dumped it in instead of making a play inside the blue line because they had, I believe at the time, it was Bennett that was driving on the other side. So they knew exactly how that play was going to unfold. So if Craig Berube asks 2-on-2 and it's Nylander and Michelli, is he dumping that puck in for a purpose, or is Nylander trying to make a play? To me, if there's a disconnect, some players want to play one way, other players want to play another way. That's the other thing, too, that has to be looked at within the confines of the structure of a game. Because Florida all plays the exact same way.
I would ask this, though. Is it a good idea to ask William Nylander to dump the puck in on a 2-on-2? I'd say not.
Worked for a 58 goal scorer for Reinhart last year. Like, that's my point.
26 of them on the power play, though, Noodles. I mean, he had 24 power play goals or whatever it was, right? It wasn't all 5-on-5. And again, he's a different kind of player. He doesn't skate like William Nylander. He's better. Like, right. I'm just saying, horses for courses. Like, everyone wants to emulate Florida, but no one's got the same kind of players they have, the same kind of demeanor they have, the same kind of coach they have. It's just different. So I get taking the template in a broader sense, but, how to break it down to apply to your team. Every team is different, and everyone's got to find, the nuanced, how to apply their own system. And it feels, again, we're talking a lot about systems and coaches, and there are lots of stuff at play here for the Leafs, including just like, hey, they have to be physically more engaged and physically more prepared, and that is all true. But it's been 24 games now they played? 23 games, whatever
22,
it is.
22 games,
22 games. So by the end of this road trip, they're a third of the way through their season. There's only so long you can take it, but saying they'll figure it out eventually. They'll figure it out. They'll figure it out. I mean, at some point, a third of the season's gone. If it's not figured out, they're in last place. Like, I get it. They're 6 points out, 8, whatever it is. But, it's 2 months plus training camp. It's 3 months. Nothing is that complicated. They're doing the best they sort of can with it, and it's just not working for this group right now.
No, it's not. And they're not alone, and listen, it's a weird condensed season too, right? Like there's just with the Olympics and the Olympic break, and there's a lot of games. And I think that's leading to a lot of injuries. You're hearing that throughout the league, that there's just so many injuries. It's guys, you're going so fast and you're moving at a different pace than you used to, that guys are getting banged up. And, we were talking about some of the other Canadian teams. Like right now, it's Ottawa. They lost last night, but they had a really good trip. But Ottawa's the only team in the top 16 in the league right now in terms of points, in terms of Canadian teams. Like the Habs dropping off, Winnipeg's dropped off, Edmonton's obviously dropped off, Calgary, Toronto, and Vancouver have been terrible. You know, it's we feel like we do this every week. We reset, but it's ugly. Like it's ugly up here, man. Like there's not a lot of good positive stories in north of the 49th right now.
Oh, not according to Brucey and you guys.
I never said that 5 were getting into the playoffs.
You two and Brucey said 5 clubs.
I
five
say 4.
clubs.
Brucey was committed
O
to
was
5.
a solid 2, a firm 2
Yes.
for O. I remember this.
He looks like a genius right now. Looks like
damn
a
genius.
Right?
I still think
No, but you
I
never
would take
know.
the over. I would take the over on 2. I would. I think Winnipeg will get there, and Hellebuck will
Please,
get back,
let me
and
go here.
they'll get there. Oh,
Johnny, let me ask you this. Do you think the Canucks could slide in?
no,
My Canucks?
no, I do.
Oh,
No,
so
I do
big,
not.
Big
Big
booster
Canucks
for
fan.
Vancouver.
Oh,
Do
really?
they not
Why don't
just-
you
so
think?
how-
Why don't you think that they will slide in? My Canucks.
Because they are thin and underperforming with a goaltender who can't stay healthy. They just announced that they're going to trade their veterans for younger players. I checked it today. So you're like, oh, who would be available in Vancouver? Elias Pettersson? No move.
Yep.
Brock Besser?
Yep.
No move. Jake DeBrusk? No move. Evander Kane's got a 16-team, no trade. Tyler Myers? No move. Marcus Pettersson? No move. You're not going to trade Quinn Hughes. Connor Garlick? No move next year. Lankinen and Demko? No moves. Like they can't. Evander Kane is literally, or Kiefer Sherwood, the guy who is outperforming his contract by more than anyone else on the team. The one guy you want to keep on that team is the one guy that you would trade as a veteran to get younger. Oh, I just don't see it coalescing fast enough for that team. And I think the Quinn Hughes
That's
thing
a
is going to start
shame
to become a
because
bigger
I was
story as they
holding
go
on to
along.
this season. Damn it. It's a shame those Canucks. I thought I was hanging on to hope for this season, man. I was really doing it.
Yeah, trying
we were
your
having a
best.
discussion, and Dregs gave it to me because I said, why not just rip the Band-Aid off and just see what, like, talk to Quinn Hughes and just get the most for him right now? Why do you want to say, oh, we're going to hold on to this season? And then Dregs tore my head off and said, you don't know what you're talking about. You're just a fat ass sitting on your chair making comments.
Direct quote.
He did
Yes.
not say
Verbatim.
that.
Basically, that's what he said.
Verbatim. Oh,
Yes.
bring me in next time because you're making a lot of sense. You're making a ton of sense. If he's going anyways,
Wow.
get him out of there now. Get as much as
Trade
you
him.
can now. Start the rebuild. And then if trading him might also help you massage some of those other no-move situations. And maybe those guys like realizing, hey, we're not going to win right now. We're retooling. Maybe we're better off going other places. Oh, if he's leaving and you're missing the playoffs anyways, and now you're announcing you're trading to go younger and sort of recalibrate in the middle of trying to push to be good for him to stay there, it's not going to help him stay there. And if we're being honest, he's probably going to go anyways. And if you get that answer from him, oh, I'm with you. You trade him now, and you give any team, even if it's not Jersey, where he eventually will want to go, let's just say, and you give him 2 years of Quinn Hughes for the playoffs, you could get a mountain of assets for 2 years of Quinn Hughes on an affordable
Totally.
contract.
Yeah. I'm trading almost anything to get that
So
guy for 2
Johnny,
years.
we had that chat in the 4 o'clock hour.
Yeah.
If you're a team that is a contender, and you want to be in on him, how far do you go? Do you trade a really good young live roster player, or do you load up on picks and prospects?
If you're Carolina, they've taken big swings, right? Do you not
Right.
trade another first and Logan Stankoven for him?
Again,
I think
Stanky?
you do.
Stanko is not having a
This
great
is
year, though,
Stanko.
right now.
What if you know
I
that he's?
said-
What if he's told you you could trade for me, but I'm going to play with my brothers, so I'm not re-signing there?
I'm still doing it.
They
2
traded
years.
for Rantanen for 2 months on the hope that he might stay. They're going to get this guy for 2 years, and their window is right now. I just said Stankoven because he was just traded for a big player. That's Logan,
That was
you're a good
dirty.
guy. You
I
signed
hear
an
you.
extension. I'm just saying, Jackson, Blake, whoever you want to put out there, Svechnikov, whatever. Apparently his name's out
Yeah.
there. I'm saying,
remind me,
if I'm
though-
Carolina, I go Svech and a first rounder for 2 years of him,
All
even if I
day.
know he's going to walk. I do.
All day.
I do.
Okay, so remind me though, does Hughes have any control right now? Does he have a no move?
I don't think he does. No, no, because you can't get them until you're old enough to be a UFA, and I don't know if he's been in the league long enough. 7 years. I think he's
Right,
coming
I'm
up on
gonna
it.
Check quickly.
I looked at it today. He
It's a
doesn't have
Marner
it this
scenario.
year,
It's a Marner
Okay,
so he's a
scenario.
free.
So then,
you can send him anywhere.
So then,
Yeah.
Okay, so in hindsight, and it's easy for us to be heroes to look back, you should have traded Mitch Marner before he had
Absolutely.
cost control.
A lot of people were saying that at the time. Easier said than done. But if
The
you're going to blow up
difference
the core
is-
four,
The
had to do it before
difference
he had
is
control.
Right.
Toronto had legitimate
Leafs were good.
aspirations and expectations to win last year. Vancouver,
Right.
if they're being honest, do not. That's the difference. And that's why
Yes.
letting Mitch
Yep.
Marner and keeping him is defensible, because they won the division. They
Yep.
were one of the best teams in the league. Like, to trade that guy in that moment is, yeah, in hindsight, sure. But what if they get to the third round? What if they win game 7? Then you're like, yeah, that's why we kept him. So that's the difference. And that's where you got to be honest with your club. And if you're being honest, that's all was accurately being honest about Vancouver.
Right.
You know, it would be appropriate to look at that earlier than sooner than later.
Yep. We all
Good
agree.
job, O-Dog.
All
Good
right,
job,
Johnny.
O-Dog.
There's the O-Dog driving the narrative
Yeah.
in the country. I love it.
I'm just a guy on my chair.
That's
it.
You're just a fat ass on your chair. Don't forget that, man. You
You're
got to
really-
remember that
you're
point.
You're
I'm
right.
just verbatim. I'm just
Damn
a
right.
journalist. I'm a journalist. All right, Johnny.
Thank you for getting that right.
Yes.
Oh, I love it.
All right, Johnny. We'll do it later in the week. Good seeing you, buddy.
All right, boys. Have a good night.
There's Mike Johnson joining us here on the Maple Toyota Hotline. Get in and go where adventures take you. And a new 2025 Tacoma from Maple Toyota near Canada's Wonderland on the Maple Auto Mall. Visit mapletoyota.com. Confirm or deny. Next.
I can neither confirm or deny that this is in fact a segment.
Austin trades Andrew Raycroft to Toronto in exchange for the rights to Tuukka Rask.
It's been my honor and a privilege to serve as the general manager of the Toronto Maple Leafs Hockey Club.
It's time for Confirm or Deny.
Do you regret giving all those gentlemen the no trades or no movement clauses?
Well, I can neither confirm or deny that.
I can't confirm or deny.
All right, confirm or deny. Statements are made. We confirm them or we deny them. Very simple stuff. Done this many times. All right, this is, man, it's a negative tone the last couple of days. It's very unfortunate. Luckily, though, the Raps are alive. Brandon Ingram's a Raptor. We got to love that. So there is some positivity here. The Jays are involved in a lot of the hot stoving out there in Major League Baseball. Lots of positivity. On the hockey scene, not so much. Confirm or deny, multiple Canadian teams will finish bottom 5 in the standings this season. Multiple teams, bottom 5.
I am 100% confirming that. Are you talking? Yeah, of course.
Yeah, Calgary, maybe your Canucks, maybe your Leafs, maybe someone else. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm standing pat on a 2-pack making the playoffs.
Okay.
So I am also 100% confirming the statement you just made, because it'll get ugly after the next couple weeks. Once things really start to kind of sink in that you got no chance, because as Johnny says numerous times, the math don't lie.
Mm-hmm.
I know,
Once
but
you get to a point, you're not getting it. Like
Edmonton's 4 points out of first place. Montreal's right there, and so's Ottawa. There's 3 teams. You add one more of Toronto and Winnipeg in there, there's 4.
Okay. But we're talking the bottom here.
I'm saying the
As
bottom.
Of now, Calgary, Vancouver, Toronto are all
You want
bottom
at least
5 in the
you
league.
want a Deuce Bigelow down there.
Yes. Will there be 2 at the end of the road?
Confirmed.
Through 82 games.
It's confirmed.
2 of them will remain in the bottom 5.
Yes, confirm.
I'll confirm.
One's already there.
I think Calgary is going to, through osmosis, be there and trade some stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the other one, the interesting one for me is Vancouver. Because if Vancouver decides to do exactly what O-Dog talked about 15 minutes ago and say, hey, we're gonna look at Quinn Hughes. And that has a trickle effect into Connor Garland, into Jake DeBrusk, or whoever else has long-term deals in that. That means they do look at something different,
That's
a different
a blow
path.
up.
That
Yeah,
puts
that's
into
scorched
exactly.
earth.
So that puts them in. That's 2. But I'm not there yet. I'm going to deny it until I hear that they're open for business on Quinn Hughes. You're always open for business on unrestricted free agents. I'm saying, are they open for business on other players? They aren't yet. So I'm not there yet. But give me 15 games. Give me 10 to 15 games. So I'm denying that.
Well, yeah, and it's also the math about the other teams that could be involved there. Nashville will be. St. Louis has just had a dreadful year.
Right.
Unfortunately, I still think, Buffalo, possibly Chicago, possibly Pittsburgh, they're coming back to earth. Right? There's other teams with a long road ahead of them that I think are going to lose a lot of games and kind of compete for that bottom 5 spot. So I'll actually deny it based on that. Not so much what these Canadian teams are doing, but what these other teams I think still could do.
Others.
In terms of them getting worse and them possibly tanking. Confirm or deny, Masai Ujiri's legacy in Toronto is still being determined. Still, even though he's not here, it could grow one way or the other still.
I think his legacy is cemented in this city.
Okay.
Like he brought a championship here. He did so many amazing things off the court, out of that building. I think his legacy is already cemented. It can only grow because he put together this team that's having success this year.
Exactly.
This isn't exactly like Bobby Webster's hands are all over this.
Well, that's why I would confirm it. I mean, I will say this. The Brandon Ingram story, it's nothing but positive. Guy's been
kidding.
Unbelievable. He's
and
been
it
healthy.
seems like in the past, Hayes, that transaction would always turn out to he's got a bum knee. It just didn't work out. He can't score the ball anymore. And it just flares out, and it's like he goes somewhere else. And
yes.
But to this point, like till right now, it's been amazing. Because you watched the highlights of that dude last night. He was incredible.
Unreal. Yeah,
Right.
Put up 30 shots, man. They found him, and he's a hot hand. That's what he's done his whole career. He was a top 5 pick, top 3 pick in the NBA.
And he looks like
Super
he's
talented.
into it.
Yes, and that's a big part of it. He's committed.
Massive.
He's finally in a winning situation, something he hasn't really experienced in his career. But what I will say, again, through 18 games, unbelievable. It's 18
Long
games.
season. Long season.
Let's see. You know what I mean? It's the jury's not completely in on exactly what this is going to look like for Ingram, the contract, the fit, everything of the rest of the year. But so far, so good, man. It's been great. And I think Masai, if anything, what you're going to realize, okay, they're in a really good place, and it's just every once in a while that conversation is going to pop up, like, why is he not here? Like, what happened there? And I think we know the answer, contractual and all that kind of stuff. But they went up. They won a championship. Then COVID hit. Got kind of weird there with Lowry and Siakam and Van Vliet and Anunoby. They adjusted. Pretty bad, really bad for a couple of years. Now they're back up. Like, this guy went up, down, and now back up, and he's not here. So, yes, it's cemented in terms of an all-time great executive in the city, but it could actually improve even more with him not even being here, which is a testament to, how great he was.
Yeah,
and what he's done.
Regardless of what happens, his legacy, like when you don't have to apologize for championships, whatever happened before and after.
Won.
Like the Kawhi trade alone probably cemented his legacy for me.
Yeah,
right?
You're right.
And that could have gone just so south. Didn't Kawhi play like 8 games the year before?
Mm-hmm.
Literally,
9
like
games or something,
9. Yeah, like that could have. This guy could have showed up and been a bum and not play. Didn't want to play, and instead he delivered a championship, and then he took off.
Then he did the Clipper tree planting, sabotage of the Clippers whole thing. But other than that, for the Raptors, it was great. It was great. It's weird, like the relationship between the Raptors and Nick Nurse. Like they just played in Philly the other night. They played him a couple times already this year. There's like no connection to it anymore. It's weird. Like it's not something that you build up anymore, which is natural. And I'm curious what happens with Masai if he gets another job, if and when he wants one. Then you get the return to Toronto. He gets his flowers. How quickly does it fade?
Dude, that's everybody fades, man.
Everyone does, unfortunately. Yeah,
it's just you were there for a long time, and then you come back, everybody cheers and say we miss you, and then the next time it's like, hey, it's you again.
Yeah,
that's just the way it goes.
It happens pretty quickly. Like
it does.
Testament to that's time, that's life, that's the way it goes. But everyone kind of moves on. Everyone moves on.
It's true.
All right, confirm or deny. Nathan, this will be a spicy one. I'm curious to see how the answers come out in this one.
Uh-oh.
Well, I think it's a very fair confirm or deny. Confirm or deny. Nathan McKinnon has played himself into the number 1 center spot for Team Canada.
It's always going to be 1A and 1B with those two guys.
It's only one. It's only one number 1.
He's played well. He's like right now, if you're picking the heart, it's probably him, right?
Yeah. So if you really want to say, like, if you're going to base 1A and 1B on performance to right now from the start of the season, then it's him. But You watch McJesus at the Olympics. He'll have something to say about that.
I was just going to say, I'm going to deny it. The only reason I deny it is because you don't judge. Like, I don't think Jordan Binnington hasn't had a great start to the season. I don't think he loses the net because he hasn't had a great start to the season. I don't think McDavid loses, the number one center spot because his team's played 16 games on the road and they've had a terrible start. You know what I mean? Like, and McKinnon's been great, but I still think if in a one-game playoff, who are you taking? I still take McDavid, although McKinnon's done it too. Like
he's won it. Now, the last 2 years of the playoffs, McDavid has been phenomenal, and McKinnon really, since they won it, the Avs haven't done much in the playoffs. I think he's pulled his weight. He's had some phenomenal numbers.
McDavid
Nations, he won the MVP though. McKinnon did. He was the MVP of the tournament. McDavid scored the goal, but McKinnon won the MVP. I don't know. I think it's a good problem to have. Like, this isn't a negative conversation. It's great. You got arguably the two best. I think they are the two best players right now. If I'm picking two guys that I want up the middle of the ice, I'm taking these two guys.
For sure.
For sure. I mean, what a luxury if you're John Cooper.
Imagine throwing those guys over the boards one after the other. McDavid, you're up, and then McKinnon, you're up after that.
Incredible luxury to have.
Oh, God.
But McKinnon, last year during the regular season had a better year. And right now he's had a better year. So, it's I guess I'll confirm it. I guess I'm talking myself into a confirmation here.
Regular season, though. I mean, playoffs, like you say, the one guy lost in the first round and the other guy went to the Cup final.
Yeah.
So
one guy's got a ring, the other guy doesn't. But
it's true.
I hear you. It's a totally positive conversation to have because you got the two best guys. And this is what comes. This is the point I made after the Four Nations that I think is important to continue to bring up. You look at like the top of the NHL, and again, points aren't everything, but it's McKinnon, McDavid, Bedard, Celebrini. It's Makar on defense. Consistently throughout the history of the sport internationally, the best player has always been Canadian, and they still are. So yes, the Americans have depth, and Sweden's got depth, and Finland's good. No one can touch Canada when it comes to the best player. Like it was Howe into Orr into Gretzky into Lemieux into Crosby into McDavid into McKinnon, and it looks like it could be into Celebrini, Bedard, and you keep going. And that's generally the kind of icebreaker, right? Who's got the best guy? Who's going Gretzky to Lemieux in 87? Who's going Marner to McDavid in 24? Not to the same extent, but still, McDavid was the guy that closed the Four Nations.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of banking on that happening at the Olympic Games.
I wouldn't disagree. It's just I think these other teams, this Team USA, I think is going to be something to be.
They got a lot of injuries right now.
With. That's the problem. Is Matthews and Hughes being injured. Like Hughes is.
Jack Hughes, you're saying?
Yes, Jack Hughes, who was a rock star, and Hellebuck. But Jack Hughes was a rock star to start the season, and then fell on a glass or something, and now we,
Yeah,
I don't know. Now
Werenski's banged up. I think he'll play tomorrow, but he's a little bit banged up. But they got a lot. McAvoy, they got a lot of injuries.
They do
a lot of injuries.
Crazy.
Matthew Tkachuk, Brady Tkachuk, they're still out.
Yeah,
you presume they're all going to return and it's going to be all good. All right, final one, confirmed and denied. Team Owen Wilson is the worst run organization in pro sports.
Oh, I'm going to confirm it because I'm not a part of it and I don't run it. So I'm absolving myself from any wrongdoing, and I was mistreated, and I don't like it. I was.
You file a complaint?
I will. I'll go right to HR of Owen Wilson Incorporated and be like, I was never given a chance. I was bullied.
Very disappointing. Pro athlete salute? I don't know, man.
That salute is now the Hazenbro salute.
The Hazenbro, Hayes and O. The
Hayes and O.
The Hayes and O salute. I don't know, man. We're going to have a definitive answer on this tomorrow because Luke's in a dark place, man.
Dude, he is.
He's just
because stuff like yesterday, I knew that the play was the Niners all day.
Yeah, it sure was.
Carolina sucks, man.
Well, listen, they've been playing better. It was a big number. Bryce Young under the lights is asking a lot in that spot. It's a tough building to play in. Niners are getting a little bit healthier. It's not like the Niners offense put up big numbers. It wasn't like the McCaffrey and Purdy show.
Exactly. That's how Hayes and O talk. We talk like that. We talk things out.
I think. I don't know if it's Hayes and like.
It's either Hayes and O, or I make a super team with Joe from the Bridge, Doogie, and JP. That would be my first choice.
I think it should be Hayes versus the field. Al's brother goes to join you guys. He dumps Al's brother, and you can have a super team 8-on-1. Bring in Doogie, bring in JP, Joe from the Bridge, and it's Hayes versus everybody else.
Andre
Hayes
the
versus the
Giant
field.
versus everybody else. Royal Rumble.
I would love to see that. I pay money to see that one.
Okay.
I want to sit on the sidelines and watch a super team put together. So you got to mend fences with O and O. Or I'm sorry, with
Good
Luke.
luck. That's
and
the problem.
say, we're bringing Al's brother in. We're bringing JP. We're bringing Doogie in. And it's Hayes versus – because I think Hayes is ready to dump
I'd take
Al's
on the
brother.
world right now. I'm seeing the board as clearly – I'm Cyclops over here.
You misspoke. We're seeing the board.
We're seeing the board, yes. The problem with this dynamic, quickly before we get out of here, is Al's brother is not taking advice from a Super Bowl winner. He's not going to take advice from Luke. He owns Luke Wilson right now, and that's the problem is – Luke would want to maybe have some sort of dialogue or diplomacy, and Al's brother won't accept it. He's cruising, he's charcutering, he's card depoting, and he's picking winners. Even Joe Buck was talking about the moon last night. Just pick up on that? Waxing crescent. Joe Buck. I'm like,
I refuse
if you
to
had Al's brother
acknowledge.
on your team, he would have told you that the Niners were a lock last night.
Right.
Anyway. All right, best bets coming up, and we'll have a definitive answer on what's going to happen as of tomorrow, because we have a big swing week. Big one on Thursday, a game on Friday, massive implications this week. OverDrive continues up on YouTube Live. Today's Best Bets powered by FanDuel. Make your picks and assemble a same-game parlay in seconds on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Getting plus money with Dallas tonight, and I'm going to take it. Like, Dallas has been playing well. They've been in Western Canada. They're just waiting in Edmonton, right? They were in Calgary over the weekend. They played in Vancouver prior to that. So they're up there. They're sitting there. They're waiting. The Oilers just had a crazy road trip. First game back. Dallas is just a good team, a really good team, and you're getting plus money. I'm going to take the Stars tonight.
Makes sense. No Branton in, though, eh? One game, right?
One game,
the Western
automatic.
teams, the Western teams say that, Jamie? Do they say, Eastern teams say, first game back in the East, we stink the joint out. Do West teams do that or no?
They do, but they just travel so much more. Like the travel is ridiculous. You look at it, the mileage that they put on. But I feel like that's through the league, guys. Like it's just, first game home after a 6-7 gamer or whatever. Everyone's just focused on, visiting family, catching up with people. It's always a stinker. But Dallas lost the other day. What was it, overtime or shootout to Calgary? So, and no Rantanen, but they still are a very good team.
Really good
That
team.
Rantanen, we never even talked about this guy. Just nailing
hits
people
guys from behind.
Just
That's
crazy.
how he operates.
Just a hell of a player. That's the first time he's ever been suspended.
Auto suspension too, right? Because back-to-back games where he did
Crazy.
Best Bets powered by FanDuel. Same-game parlays now available for every NHL game on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Please play responsibly. 18+, physically located in Ontario. All right. Tomorrow we'll have an answer on what we're doing with the picks. We'll get Luke's take on all this. He will have a vote in this and a say in this, and, of course, Al's brother will as well. And we got the Leafs in action tomorrow night. We got a lot of games tomorrow. We look forward to that. All right. Thanks to everyone behind the scenes for helping out. We appreciate it. Everyone for tuning in today. TV, radio, podcast, web, and up on YouTube Live on TSN's YouTube channel. We're out of here. Enjoy your evenings. Enjoy the games tonight. We're back tomorrow at...
Go Hazeno and go Nux. 4 p.m.
We'll chat then.